You guys love your freedom. And you support a man that will attack you and kick you out of your own party, one you probably was in before him. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm trouble.
The president had nothing to do with it. He's been very clear, and he has nothing to hide. And that's why he's endorsed the vote today. I suspect this vote will be probably unanimous.
The Speaker says, why now? Why now? Well, Mr. Speaker, you were the one who refused to swear in Adelita Grajova for 50 days. We would have done it 50 days ago, but she provided the 218th signature on the discharge petition.
$427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
You're gonna cry in the car.
Trump, I knew you was taking the breakup hard. I didn't know it was this hard.
What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for any. I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends. All of them.
Now you would know, wouldn't you? You would. You used to be. That's what I thought. You would know. You would know. No, I can't dispute that because you're the only one that I know that was. So I can't actually dispute that. So you want to go on record and say release the hoax. President Donald Trump has told House Republicans to vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, saying they, quote, have nothing to hide, writing on Truth Social. It's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics, there it is, in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party. Now, are we supposed to pretend like y'all weren't huddling to try and get the votes to block release of the Epstein files? That was just last week. That was just like, I know that you have the memory of a goldfish, but the rest of us are fully functional, healthy, operable adults. You know, the kind of person you claim to be when you get back from your physical every year. That's actually how we remember last week. Remember, can't give Massie a win?
Did y'all talk to them at any point during this, as the White House was making clear they were targeting these members?
I talked to them. I don't want to say which one I had this conversation with, but one of them was told, we can't let Massie have a win. How petty is that? I mean, this is more than about political wins. It's about getting transparency and justice, which, by the way, this administration promised. You have the Vice President, J.D. Vance, you have the AG, you have the FBI Director. They've all done a 180 on this.
So the White House said to one of these members that they didn't want you to have a win here.
That's correct.
I mean, what does that say to you, Congressman Ro Khanna, as to the White House's motivation here? I mean, I think so many people look at this and say, why is the White House fighting this as hard as they are, and you know, taking Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room, which is incredibly unusual based on my experience covering the White House?
They've really lost their way, because it was really Donald Trump, and more than Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, who in podcast after podcast said, release the Epstein files. And I give credit, of course, to the courage of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. They met with the survivors. It was personal.
Well, I can say this. This is quite a win for Massie. And you ain't heard this from me, but I seen him with Marjorie. in the cafeteria. President Donald Trump's call for House Republicans to support releasing Jeffrey Epstein-related documents was a stunning capitulation after a months-long campaign to block the vote. It was also a specific defeat for Trump at the hands of a despised GOP opponent, Rep. Thomas Massie of Kentucky. He got tired of me winning, Massie said of Trump's U-turn in an interview Monday morning. The same Thomas Massie that Trump attacked in that breakup post to Marjorie said he got tired of me winning. He just posted her on Instagram. I mean, he dragging you now. I'm with it. I'm with it, Thomas. And by the way, isn't this the same Thomas Massie who you swore you would support his primary opponent you just capitulated to on the Epstein vote? You sure you want to face him again? Insisting, I don't care, in a late night Truth Social post, Trump was bowing to the inevitable, a broad House Republican mutiny on a vote that was only scheduled because Massie forced it. It was a result of Massie and Rep. Ro Khanna launching a discharge petition aimed at sidestepping senior GOP leaders who desperately wanted to avoid bringing the issue to the House floor. I don't know about y'all, but when I really don't care about something, I post I don't care in all caps on social media. That's what I do. That's what I do. I don't care and all. That's what I do. Yeah. And then when I want you to when I really want you to focus on something, what I'll say is, but don't talk about it too much. Oh boy, you be full of holes.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
What'd you say? You didn't try and block the votes in the House? Oh, well, see, this is the thing. Caroline Leavitt already confirmed that conversation. Yeah, in her excitement and fervor to deflect and then try and turn it into doing something positive, she already confirmed that conversation had taken place. And that's where I say, welcome to the web of deceit, Caroline Leavitt. Glad you could make it.
Government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency. Having discussions with members of Congress about various issues, and I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room in the press briefing room. Reagan.
And that's not to mention how y'all been doing Nancy Mace. Now all of a sudden everybody's concerned about her behavior. Oh, so what? Now y'all want to join America and being concerned about Nancy Mace? Really? No, Michael Eric Dyson. Now is not the time. I know you saw it.
I think that.
And then there's this. House Republicans now set to vote nearly unanimously for release of the Epstein files. House Republicans are expected to join their Democratic colleagues in a near unanimous vote this week in support of releasing all of the Jeffrey Epstein files. GOP aides said the vote to force the Department of Justice to hand over all the federal government's unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials on the late powerful Epstein was a foregone conclusion after President Trump urged House lawmakers to do it, quote, because we have nothing to hide. Y'all never gonna beat the lackey allegations like this. Y'all never gonna beat the lackey allegations. So you mean to tell me I don't care and all so you mean to tell me this man could spend all the end of last week and over the weekend trying to block the files and then just post "I don't care" in all caps, and now y'all vote unanimously and y'all trying to beat the lackey allegations? Like you want us to look at you as responsible, respectable adult representatives moving like this? Like how? Like how? Would you respect you? I know that's the question. Would you respect you? He got y'all out here looking bad. I mean, some look worse than others. I mean, there was that whole Laura Loomer being pro-victim as anti-Trump. I remember that? Remember that? Pro-victim as anti-Trump? Because that's not an indictment at all. How she look? How she look?
No, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
The simple fact remains that if the Epstein files exonerated Donald Trump, he wouldn't have been attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene. Next question, you dumb MAGAs. Trump declared that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a rhino right after she said that she will not agree to block the release of the Epstein files. He's telling you everything you need to know. At this point, if you're not a rhino, you're an accomplice. So he had convinced y'all that he was running to expose Epstein, then turned once he got elected and got a significant portion of y'all resigned to the fact that it was a hoax. The rest of them he called dumb. You remember that? Yeah. He called y'all, there's some stupid MAGAs who, quite frankly, I don't need their vote anymore. He also said that, which he don't really need nobody's vote anymore at this point. But he said there's some stupid MAGAs that believe in the Epstein hoax. The rest of them are on my side. Well, those who decided to ride with Donald Trump at that point have just become the stupid MAGAs. Well, come on down. Come on down.
But wait, there's more.
If the bill passes the House and Senate, it would then head to Trump's desk for his signature. Trump hasn't said whether he would sign the bill. He also has the power to veto the legislation if he chooses, and that would require a 2/3 majority in both chambers to overturn the president's veto. Trump could also just order the release of the documents himself without congressional action. MAGA. No. I'm specifically talking to the MAGAs. I'm specifically talking to the MAGAs that still at this point, like they don't got whiplash enough. They got a whole helmet on and they are trying to go with the latest from Trump. Now you want me to believe that he wants full transparency for the Epstein files and is pushing for a vote when he could have just released them himself this entire time. No, Your Honor, I really do love my kids. Yes, the court had to order me to take care of them, but I love them. That's where we at. That is, he could have released them this entire time, but is going with, I want full transparency because we have nothing to hide. So what was it that he said about the Democrats during the shutdown? Wasted a lot of time and money and energy. You know what I mean? I swear, the books that's going to be written about this era of time. Huh? It gets worse. Even if Trump signs the Epstein bill, the president's recently announced DOJ investigations into prominent Democrats' relationship with Epstein could affect which documents are released. Trump said he ordered AG Pam Bondi to investigate Epstein's ties with former President Bill Clinton, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, venture capitalist Reid Hoffman, and the bank JP Morgan Chase. As a result, the DOJ could potentially argue the release of certain documents would jeopardize these investigations. That's right. Full transparency. That's what they told me. You need a little extra time. We need a little extra time. No, I finished my test. I just need some time to breathe and just be in the moment. But all the work is done. Macca. Word. Is that? I knew Marjorie was going to come up sooner or later. Well, I told you can't go. Marjorie, just because you at the last minute decide you want to divorce yourself from Trump does not mean you get to wash your hands from how we got here. Wasn't this you?
Why are you supporting the red flag laws? If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them. Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? And why are you using kids as a barrier? Do you not know how to defend your stance? Look, I'm an American citizen. I'm a gun owner. I have a concealed carry permit. I carry a gun for protection for myself, and you are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself? You can't defend your stance? How did you get over 30 appointments with senators? How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools. Do you know that? The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. But yet you're attacking our Second Amendment. And you have nothing to say. No words. So I'm walking.
That was you, right? I know you got that act right. I know you got that act right. We all saw you get that act right.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Bleach blonde, bad built butch body.
Oh, what now? And now all of a sudden you sing a whole different tune. You had a whole personality adjustment. I guess Jasmine Crockett will do that.
People are saying what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
It's the funniest thing to me.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is?
Yeah.
I'm literally, nothing happened to me.
Right.
I'm saying the same thoughts and feelings that I've always had.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to wear the Republican jersey.
Right.
And I'm not willing to be a cheerleader. I'm not a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a cheerleader.
Here's how you used to move.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
And here's after that act right.
However, I will praise Nancy Pelosi. She had an incredible career for her party. I served under her speakership in my first term of Congress, and I'm very impressed at her ability to get things done. I wish we could get things done for our party like Nancy Pelosi was able to deliver for her party. So I wish her well in her retirement.
What is it you going to tell me next? You working on a memorial in Georgia for John Conyers? Like, come on. No, and I heard what you said about Fuentes too. Some habits die hard.
You're talking about lowering the rhetoric, which is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials. But there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of anti-Semitic hard-right figures in your movement, especially after Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized, and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was a friend of hers, and she spoke at my conference, and then the day after, she pretended like she didn't know me. She pretended like she didn't know me and lied and said I had no idea the conference I was speaking at. She knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe in canceling people. And I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone. I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages with or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. But I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people as well as exposing a lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're saying.
He does on his show.
I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry, and he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that. I myself am.
You just couldn't give up the racism, could you? You just couldn't give up the racism. We told you don't call. We told you block it. And you went on yourself and went and contacted racism again. Nobody told you to do that. Nobody told you to do that. Because y'all been together for so long. Well, you got to own that. You got to own that. You talking about this Nick Fuentes.
We, the Americans, we the white people of America, we the peaceful, law-abiding, tax-paying people of America are saying, hey, blacks, get your shit together. Get your fucking shit together. We are fucking tired of you. We are tired of seeing this stuff. It always seems to be you. Do you know that, and I'm just expressing what is a common sentiment. Do you know that everybody thinks that if we snapped our fingers and you all disappeared tomorrow, everybody thinks our quality of life would go up?
But oh yeah, we supposed to welcome you with open arms. I mean, come on. We can hear the words coming out of your mouth. And I told you Jasmine over there too.
Yeah, hell may have frozen over. Because we are agreeing more than we're not. But I will tell you that while there is a new Marjorie, as some people have said, I do want to give people an opportunity to do their research. And the reality is that the big ugly bill, it only passed with one vote. And if one more Republican would have defected, which we had maybe two Republicans that defected, if we would have just had one more, then we would not be talking about higher insurance premiums. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for this. Point blank period. Her constituents were the ones that were on the receiving end of this. In fact, I'm sure that we can find tape in committee of me going down and talking about how many people in their Republican districts were going to lose health care, how many children were going to lose health care because of that bill. Now, maybe she didn't care about those on Medicaid and Medicare, and Democrats spent a lot of time talking about the fact that 15 to 17 million were going to lose their health care, but they didn't fully understand, I guess, that when you remove $1 trillion from the healthcare ecosystem, everybody else has to pay in. Also, that the top 1%ers can keep more money in their pockets. At the same time that we've not raised the minimum wage, we're seeing record-breaking profits from those at the top. We know that there are talks about Elon becoming the first trillionaire that we've ever seen in the world. So you tell me if I am feeling so sad for Marjorie or buying into this, because I don't understand why she didn't do the right thing when she had a chance. So there's two issues that we have going on. The big ugly bill is what caused our insurance premiums to go up. But in addition to that, Republicans have decided to kick people while they're down. So if you are on the marketplace, if that's where you get your health care, then that tax subsidy is set to expire at the same time that they made the tax cuts permanent for those at the top. And they have decided they don't want to talk about giving them subsidies. So while your insurance may go from, say, $200 a month to, say, $1,000 a month, but if you are on the marketplace, you are going to get, say, $250 credit a month. Now they're saying we also want to take that away.
And don't even get me started with the squad. The squad is over there too. Oh, they remember.
Just to put a button on this, you regret the things that you have said and posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama. Just examples.
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
This change your mind and approach wouldn't have anything to do with these threats you're receiving now, would it? Huh? Is it just a coincidence? Like Trump all of a sudden deciding to release the files when he can no longer avoid the release of the files? You mean like that kind of coincidence?
I mean, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
Marjorie Taylor Greene heavily assisted in propelling that creature to the White House, so I have not an iota of sympathy for her. Oh, and there's this one. Since she's getting threats from Trump voters, I've inducted Marjorie Taylor Greene into the Miniature Blonde Sasquatch Protection Program. You know, I've heard about that one. I hear they're good. Yeah, I hear they do good work. Don't judge it. Don't judge a program by the Sasquatches. Like they do good work. I'm telling you. Now, MAGA, how y'all doing? Huh? How y'all doing? Y'all were pushing for the release of the Epstein files. Despite all the evidence we had already seen that might implicate Trump, you thought that he was going to do that. Saw him get in and talk about how he doesn't want to talk about Epstein. Called it a hoax. Now we see all the drips and drabs that have come out. We've seen the birthday book. We've seen the talk of the Polaroids on the table of him with topless girls. We hear about him recruiting at Mar-a-Lago. We hear about it's worse than we thought. We even heard him call the people who wanted to hold him accountable for his own campaign promises stupid and about how he no longer wants their support. He said that about y'all. Now, for those that were still on board, and I know that wasn't everybody. I see you over there, Candace Owens.
You lost the party. MAGA got fractured, not when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes, but when Donald Trump looked at us in our faces and said, Epstein who? That's when it was game over. Because Israel First is a cancer cell.
For those that happen to manage to still be on board at that point, now you have to stomach him openly moving to block release of the files and mere days later try and argue he wants a full release of the files because he has nothing to hide while attacking the Thomas Massies and the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, at least on one hand, on the case of Marjorie, who actually still believed in him at that point. So how are y'all doing? I've made this point in previous videos, but it's never been more apropos than it is right now. How's that freedom that you speak so much of? How's that freedom? You know, that freedom. We want to be free. You wanted to be free when it came to COVID, and you want to be free when it comes to what your kids are learning, and you want to be free when it comes to who's in sports. You want to be free with what you can say online, despite what he just said about Seth Meyers. But that's a story for another time. You guys love your freedom. And you support a man that will attack you and kick you out of your own party, one you probably was in before him, because you disagree with literally anything that he tells you to believe. How's that freedom? How's that freedom? What is it? He's reacting because what? They aren't loyal, right? They aren't. What about loyalty? They aren't loyal to him. Wow. That is, I would say that loyalty is a one-way street, but that street got a cul-de-sac. It ain't even a through street. That's literally one of those roundabouts right there. Like that is, let me tell you about loyalty. You see that, MAGA? Trump has no loyalty. He doesn't give a S about you. The minute Marjorie Taylor Greene started talking about healthcare for you, lower prices for you, he cut her off. Wake up. Well, I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene would have one up on all the rest of you because at least she has some freedom. She don't got the freedom to come over here, but she certainly has freedom to say how she feels, which is more than I could say for the rest of you.
And I can disagree with the president at times, particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty up until March of this year. I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day from fighting Al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I'm allowed to do so.
So let me ask you this, MAGA. I'm genuinely intrigued. How do you beat the cult allegations when he contradicts himself every few days and demand you follow the whims of his mind? Like me following and cleaning up after my toddler. That's how your arguments look. He did that to y'all. And apparently he's not done because he's demanding you switch up again. So how do you beat the cult allegations? How does that work? Not to mention, we've heard that called out exactly from MAGA Granny, who, by the way, took charges.
They've lost their critical thinking, and I didn't realize a president could ever become a cult leader. And I realized from Stephen Hansen, he wrote the book, the cult of Trump, that I was in a cult. You know, this was an actual cult.
I swear, I thought Trump couldn't possibly look any worse, but he actually doesn't look as bad as MAGA and the GOP does today for carrying his water. That's up. Y'all got Marjorie Taylor Greene looking like the smart one. That's how y'all have moved. No, that doesn't mean you can go over to the others. No, Marjorie, I keep telling you no. You got plans for what? Marjorie Taylor Greene was hired, trained, and paid by tech oligarchs and others from the very beginning to be a political troublemaker. With Trump's downfall looming, Greene is now being strategically groomed to be J.D. Vance's vice president. Mark my words. Hey, Erica Kirk. She coming to get your man. Now, I seen him in the cafeteria. I'll tell you about it. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Y'all still booing Trump? It's been days. No, you good, but just quiet down. I'm trying to make some content over here. I gotta give a quick shout out to my editors that have been absolutely killing it. My man Denzel, as well as Boz, who's been coming through crucial. However, they could use some help. Help me! Help me! You know, some reinforcements, a day off every now and again.
I'm so tired, but also hungry.
I should probably feed them and get them some fresh air every now and again. That probably would be good. I know it's been a while since I solicited for help, but I might be reaching out to some of you guys. So if you get an email like weeks after you reached out to me, don't be alarmed. And of course, if you have a particular set of skills and would like to join the team, hit me up at admin@ReeseWaters.com. Speaking of joining the team, congratulations to all of our members. We just recently hit 3,000. And you know what that means? No, not like the movie Mr. 3000. Although I will take Bernie Mac's career arc though. I will take that. No, it means a members live. Y'all remember how crazy it got last time.
Nasty bitch.
So be on the lookout for notifications for that, as well as discounts on merch. And yes, we got some new stuff out there. Is that a Kamala was right and a release the files? Oh, it's going to be FAFO when I hit the streets in this. I'm going to kill them this wintertime. Speaking of merch, no, I'm getting to you, Lee. I'm getting to you, Lee. I received this email from my man, Lee, who said, discouraged, depleted, can't find merch to meet it. Hey, Reese team, I woke up this morning ready to bless my closet with some Reese Waters gear, had my card out, playlist on, and my confidence high. I hit the site and got hyped to see those dope t-shirts and hoodies. That North Carolina blue RWT fire, the black discouraged, depleted, but never defeated shirt. Instant classic. Now, the racism shirt, man, that segment alone deserves its own museum wing. Though Who Raised Y'all, which needs its own shirt, might be tied for first. But here's my problem. None, and I mean none of the shirts or hoodies come in 3XL. That's a personal attack on my confidence and my brisket intake. I'm a proud black man living in Arkansas, so you already know the struggle and the appetite. Can the 3XL brethren get some love too? I'm speaking on behalf of the discouraged, depleted, but never defeated, but definitely well-fed sized members of the channel. As somebody who used to always ask the clerks at Marshall's if this shirt came in bird chest, I know exactly what you mean, and that is something we will absolutely work on. Thank you so much for reaching out. You can always hit me up at admin@ReeseWaters.com. I'm going to be hitting you guys up for some year-end awards. More on that a little bit later, but as well as a Thanksgiving video, which I would like your input on as well. So check out the polls. You can catch them in the community tab, also via email. Is there any room left in the booing? Y'all got space? Upper deck? I'll take it. I'll be back. Boo! I ain't been this proud of DC since we won the Stanley Cup.